to the Dawgs Table. Get access to special guests, anyone can join the Dawgs Table. Find the link to join the show in the comments when we go live every Tuesday on YouTube, on Facebook, and everywhere on the BIGPLAY network. Here's your hosts.
Welcome to the Dawgs Table. I'm one of your hosts, Craig Fountain, here with Ryan Angelo. How are you doing today, Ryan?
Happy Tuesday, brother. I'm doing good. How are you?
Thank you. I am doing well. Today was a busy day of roster cuts and all kinds of other stuff going on, so we're going to get into all of that. Before we begin, though, if you're new to the show, we are the Dawgs Table. We are sponsored by and brought to you by Labatt Blue Light. Man, it's going to be a long show. I can't talk. Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. You can find us everywhere Big Play is found. And we are, again, a Cleveland Browns Roundtable discussion show. Anybody can join. We are going to post a link in the comments about halfway through the show, about 9:30. You guys can click on that link and you can join the show. You can talk face-to-face with us via video chat. And for everybody else to see. If you don't want to do that, you can interact with us in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. Here is Running Bald Man. Justin, thank you for joining the show. Again, this is only on Facebook or YouTube. You can find us there, Twitter, or we are actually live on TikTok, Ryan. I didn't even tell you this before the show. We are live on TikTok. We can't see your comments there live. They don't come into the studio. But we'll do our best to monitor so we can address some of those if they come along. All right. Is there a way to just listen and not have the video? That's a great question, Barry. I don't think so. I think you have to have the video open on your phone. With that being said, after the show, not live, you can subscribe to what I have here, which is the Dawgs Table podcast. You don't want to see us. All right. Fair enough, Barry. No, we are a couple minutes late. Unfortunately, my burner account, Landon, had an injury in his high school soccer match, and there was some phone calls going on trying to
Slight panic.
Definitely a slight panic. So I'm sure he'll be okay. Sounds painful, but not serious. And my wife is in Angel handling that right now while we are live. Is my camera messing up for you, Ryan?
It is. Yeah, it's going wiggy again.
All right. Lovely. See if I can switch that.
That's the one that just keeps messing up on you. You need to get rid of it. Oh, maybe. He gone. What's up, Jose? How are you, buddy? I don't know. He's been having a problem with that camera. Ryan? I can hear you now.
All right. You might have to do without me for a second here and maybe get into some of the roster cuts while I remedy this.
All right. Well, we can do that. Jose, welcome to the show, buddy. I appreciate you being here. Craig is going to fix his camera, and then he'll be back. Running Bald Man, it has been doing something crazy. It's been doing this for like several weeks, so he's going to fix that for us. In the comments, is there any roster cuts or 53-man roster additions that you were surprised at today? I don't feel like there was too many surprises, aside from maybe DeAnthony Bell being the first undrafted free agent to make Andrew Berry's 53-man roster. Doesn't mean he's going to be there forever, but I'd say it's a good sign that he's made the initial team. So I would say that was probably my biggest surprise, but he had some hype, through the through the camp. So people thought that he was going to be, a shoe-in. So let's see here. Barry says, wonder who we're going to add as a tight end. Yeah, that's a good question. There's only 2 tight ends on the roster as of right now, I believe. And that's Harrison Bryant and David Njoku. I saw some Twitter rumors going around that there's a possible, flirtation going on with OJ Howard. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Definitely a guy that's, a higher draft pick, kind of right up Andrew Berry's alley, right? A higher draft pick that's never really caught on anywhere, has been underperforming. Probably get him for a decent price, but I think he's going to have suitors. So it'll be interesting to see how much the Browns are willing to pay for someone like that. Let's see here. Free agent tight ends. Let's pull it up. Let's see who's available out there. I don't have that prepared, so I will pull it up and see what we can do for you. Skylar, we're doing well, buddy. How are you? Red Legs in the house. All right, so we got, it looks like I got to find something that's updated. This is old. Let's see here. Free agent tracker. Barry says, do you think we let Stanton go just to keep all the other running backs? Yeah, I think he was a casualty, a numbers casualty. I feel like they've flirted off and on with Stanton forever, though. So, he's a fan favorite. I wish he would have they could have kept him around, but keeping all 5 of the running backs is definitely an eye opener. I'm not exactly convinced that they're all going to stay there, but we could see. Hi, Chris. Craig, I'm drowning. Help me.
You're drowning. I'll save you. No, I am back on 720p and no special camera settings. I'm not sure what in the world went on there. That was terrible timing. Norman, welcome to the show. Skylar, I'm sure Ryan greeted you, but thanks for joining. We got Chris Spann in the house. We got Justin. We got Barry. Welcome to the show, guys. Ed, how's
Ed? What's
our
going
favorite Steelers fan? All right. We have lots to go over in the comments. There's lots to say, guys. All right. So, a couple things. Ryan.
Chris was, go ahead. Sorry.
Let's start here. We arrived at the initial 53 today.
Right.
This 53 is not going to stay put until week 1.
Agreed.
They are going to turn the bottom of the roster. Now, is there anybody that surprised you as far as cuts? Let's start there, and then we're going to kind of go through this. We'll go through your questions in the comments. We'll dive in as long as my camera will cooperate.
Cuts. Your camera's going crazy again. I would say probably the biggest surprise cut-wise, Johnny Stanton. But then also in the wide receiver room, you had, all 3 wide receivers that were cut. Javon Wims, Jamarcus Bradley, Dalen Baldwin. For a room that's lacking in depth, I wasn't expecting them to trim that so significantly right off the bat. Another surprise would probably be the tight end room. We're only at 2 tight ends right now, which obviously is not going to hold going into the season. They got rid of Forstall. They got rid of Griffin Stewart and Mitchell Payton. Some of those guys have definitely showed out through the preseason. So there were some projections out there that a few of those guys could have made the squad, but I think it points more towards that there's some moves in the works, but definitely, we're going to see. There's Barry. Hi, Barry. There he is. Save me, Barry.
I'm here to save the day.
What are you at the gym?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I said I just wanted to listen to it.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as defense goes, I don't think there was any really surprises. Maybe Dakota Allen. Dakota Allen looked like he was pretty decent throughout the preseason, but it's not necessarily a huge surprise. But he did have a good preseason. And yeah, Skylar agrees with me. See, boom, look at that.
I guess Harrison. I guess all the buzz about Harrison didn't go, huh?
Yeah, no.
That could have had something to do with Delpit's injury, though, right? Because didn't Delpit go down in the last preseason game? What's the status on him?
It was a tweak, it sounds like. It doesn't sound like it's anything major.
Nothing crazy.
But I just had a feeling that was not going to be the route that they were going to go, just because they play Harrison so much in the box as a pseudo linebacker that it just didn't make sense to me to take that out of your playbook, essentially. Craig, are you alive over there, buddy, or what? What's going on here?
I'm trying. I just unplugged everything and plugged it back in. So, I've got some strongly worded letters to write to some of my equipment suppliers this is not cheap equipment. I have gotten past my internet issue, it seems, over the past few weeks, and now I'm having equipment issues. So, we'll go there. All right. So where are we at? What did I miss?
We were just talking about the wide receiver room, Johnny Stanton, the tight ends, and then
your camera still sucks.
Oh boy.
Can you guys hear me okay though?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Not now.
All right, but you can hear me, right?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go without the camera for a minute.
Right.
Skylar says happy for D'Anthony Bell making the team. Absolutely well deserved. D'Anthony Bell was certainly a fringe player, and he earned this, right? Like, there's no guarantee that he's not part of the roster churn at the bottom of the roster. With that being said, I'm super excited that he made the team also. I think we have a lot more question marks on offense. Now, obviously, with defense, he rounds out that defensive backfield. I feel pretty comfortable with our ends. Not super confident in our tackles, right? That's been a recurring subject,
right?
That we've talked about. Offense, I'm far more worried about. Our offense. I saw some comments about Stanton. I'm a little surprised to see Stanton go. A little disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm most interested in the numbers at wide receiver, tight end, and running back. 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
0% chance that holds.
No, yeah, it's not happening.
All right, Barry's doing reps.
Yes.
Yeah, can you just
grunt?
No, I won't grunt. Can you just
oh, he can still hear me.
Can you just hide the picture? Just hide my picture and leave my voice on.
So I'm going to be the only ugly mug that everybody's going to look at today. This is going to be great.
It won't let me do that for Barry, unfortunately. With that being said, no chance that we go into the season with 2 tight ends. The big question at tight end is OJ Howard. Ryan, are you for this OJ Howard stuff? These rumors?
I mean, yeah, I'm okay with it if they get him for a decent price. I mean, obviously they need the depth. I mean, the guy's talented, but there's a reason why he's been getting cut from every team that he's been at, right? So can you harness the talent? That's the big question. Can you keep him? Is it a motivation issue? Is it a work ethic issue? Is it, preparation? Is it, or are they just cutting him because of performance? I can't tell you. I don't know. He just hasn't really stuck anywhere he's been yet. So I'm for it just simply because of the numbers, and he's probably the most talented option that we're going to have an opportunity to grab. But it's still a little worrisome that he really hasn't caught on anywhere yet.
Josh Gordon's still out there.
Oh God.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about this, because we have 5 running backs, 2 tight ends, and 5 wide receivers, right? And Ryan and I are very much on the record. We are not thrilled with our wide receiver room. We have a surplus at running back. So for me, Josh Gordon's been a big kind of talking point today. A lot of people are like, "Oh, come home," things like that. I don't know if we need that kind of distraction.
I have no interest in bringing Josh Gordon back to the Browns.
Me neither. Now, there's a number of interesting targets out there via trade or signing. It's been one of those things where a lot of people are like, why do we want all these cast-offs? Well, we suck at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Okay. Roast me, say what you will, but Amari Cooper is a borderline wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, in my opinion.
I agree.
I'm not speaking for Ryan. I'm speaking for myself. Ryan may agree or may not agree. He's a borderline wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. DPJ, Anthony Schwartz. These are borderline 3s and 4s, right? High ceilings. We are not guaranteed to get any production out of these guys. I am very concerned with our wide receiver group.
Man, it's a shame we couldn't have signed somebody like Jarvis Landry.
And there's been guys available, and that I'm sure we called on. I just saw the viewer count go down a little bit. Some people didn't like that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to say things for views, but Tyler Johnson's a guy that I'm interested in, which I think Skylar said. He got boxed out in Tampa in a crowded wide receiver room. Laviska Shenault, we kind of missed out on that one.
Yep.
Why do we want to look at all these guys? Jalen Reagor, Whiteside, Slayton. None of these guys are going to be wide receiver 1s. But we are so deficient at wide receiver. And don't get me wrong, I like all these guys. They're great human beings. I'm rooting for all of them. Again, I don't feel like I should have to say that, but I know I do, because we're talking Browns.
Right.
Give me all the wide receivers. Sign every single one of them. Please. Please sign them all.
Yep.
So that we can get flyers.
I think Preston Williams from the Dolphins is an intriguing option too.
All right. So let me see if I can get my camera back on for a second.
I found out how to shut mine off.
Pittsburgh has a lot of trade bait at wide receivers, send linemen. Listen, we have an outstanding starting line in Cleveland, one of the best in the NFL, probably the second best offensive line in the NFL, falling only short to the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion. With that being said, our depth is limited, and we need that depth because we have injury concerns at the offensive line. We are a high ankle sprain away from being fucked, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Yep. Not to mention, Pittsburgh's not going to trade within a division.
That's the other thing. Pittsburgh's not going to want to give up guys inside the division. I mean, I'm sure it's not unprecedented. We could swing a deal, but it's not going to be for a game changer. Who are we talking about? Sign the tight end. The Rams release. He's 6'7".
I just saw somebody else comment about that too. I'm not 100% sure who that guy is, to be honest with you. I'm trying to find a list of tight ends that have been cut today, but everything is so screwy right now. I can't find like a solid list.
Justin, DPJ could be a number 2 in this system, but it's awfully optimistic to go in with that expectation.
Well, yeah, because we don't have a number 3.
Cautious optimism.
Right.
He has the potential. Absolutely. 100%.
That anybody could be a number 2 on the Bad News Bears.
Would you bring back OBJ? If it made the team better. I'm not a huge OBJ fan. I feel I've been on the record. I'll go on the record again. I feel like he quit on this team, and I don't think it had anything to do with quarterback play. I know, Ryan. You can – yeah, I mean, we're going to differ on this a little bit. I did not see 100% out of OBJ.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Maybe it did have something to do with the quarterback. I don't know.
I think he's
I
I
LeBron.
think he did, but
I think he quit more on Baker than he did the rest of the team, but I don't think the team was happy about it, and that's essentially what happened. And why
if he
here.
did, then he's a shitty teammate. To be fair,
for sure.
But
I take it back just because we're so deficient on talent at the position.
Yes,
I think
that is part of this discussion is the deficiency of talent there.
Right.
I mean, I think you would have to. Is it going to make a difference this year? Probably not. It's not going to change the outcome of things. Who knows when he's going to be available. Right. You know, he's going to be probably coming back around the time that we see DW. And if you think both these guys are going to step on the field and play as if they hadn't missed a down in the past year and a half, I'm sorry, you're going to be a little disappointed.
I think he's a LeBron James of the NFL.
OBJ?
Yeah, he's got all the talent in the world, but he wants the best talent around him.
I don't know.
Let's not get sucked down the OBJ hole here.
OBJ hole. Right. Ryan got sucked down a hole last week. Yeah. Let's not get sucked down another one.
He's not here. He ain't coming. Right. He's not coming back either.
You're right.
All right. So guys that we should take flyers on for the right price. Slayton, I'm down with. Rager, I'm down with. Whiteside, I'm down with. Gordon, I don't know if I want that circus in town. Was last year the first year that he was like start to finish like available and mentally, physically there in his entire career? I think that was the first time.
Maybe.
All right.
Can you imagine if they did bring him back, though, the media circus that would just come with it?
Oh, it would be crazy.
Oh yeah, we're already getting roasted because of Deshaun Watson. You know, we got roasted because of Kareem Hunt, roasted because of Deshaun Watson. Next, now we need is more memes coming out because of Wee Gordon.
All right, now we're missing Ryan. I'm starting to think this isn't a Craig or a Ryan or a Barry issue. I'm starting to think this is a streaming platform issue.
I'm sorry.
Let's see if Ryan comes back. Craig, Preston Williams is another guy. I'd love to take a flyer on this guy. People keep giving me all kinds of shit on Twitter. Like, let's look at this guy. Let's look at that guy. And they're like, yeah, let's look at everybody that wasn't good enough to make their team. None of our guys would have made these teams outside of Cooper and probably DPJ.
Right. Am I back?
I was saying when you were gone, I'm starting to think this isn't a Craig problem or a Ryan problem. It might be
I don't know. I'm just saying you better keep that bad juju on your side of the feed because I never had that problem. My computer just completely shut down and restarted itself. So I don't know what happened there.
Hey, I'm still sitting over here waiting to be tagged in. You know, I've asked Craig to help co-host this show for like 2 years now, and he keeps telling me no.
Can't do it. Sorry. Already got one co-host. Sorry, Barry.
You guys should arm wrestle for it as Barry's at the gym. Hookers and below Barry. Good teams cut good players. Yeah, absolutely. Some good teams don't have a surplus of players. That's where we're at. We do have deficiencies.
Right.
Now here's the problem, Brian, and I want your opinion on this because here's everybody's argument to support the fact that we're quote unquote fine at wide receiver. Stefanski's offense doesn't revolve around wide receiver talent. It's a run first 2 or 3 tight end set offense. Now, here's what I say to that. We can't get Nick Chubb 20 carries a game. He insists on passing the ball. I think that this is a misconception that's out there. Huge misconception. Here's the bigger problem, Ryan. My camera's going nuts. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Here's the bigger problem. How are we going to play from behind or chase points?
Can't.
We can't. if Stefanski goes to being run heavy legitimately, we like to say we're a run first offense. I don't agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's say we are. Let's say that we're going to run the ball on first, second, and sometimes third down, and we're going to go to the run first. What happens if we abandon that and get behind? Can we count on Brissett to Cooper and DPJ and Njoku to pull us out of a deficit?
No.
All right. So now let's take this another step backwards. Brissett just has to not lose us games. He needs to be efficient and not throw interceptions. How do you play from behind with that mindset if that's his strength?
It's just you can't. It's not what the NFL is anymore. Honestly,
No.
It's not. You know, it's just not a run heavy NFL, and it makes you too one dimensional. And if you can't pass the ball efficiently, you're a one dimensional team, and they're going to load the box on you, and you're going to struggle to run the ball eventually against good defenses. That might be good enough to beat teams like the Jets or teams that are bottom feeder teams. But when you get into, the big time games like the Chargers or the Patriots or, the Ravens, where teams know how to play defense efficiently, you can't rely on that. You have to be balanced, and it's nerve wracking. I don't understand it. I know everybody goes to that excuse. Oh, he loves the 11 man, the 12 man. Yeah, I get that, but you still have to be able to throw the ball. You can't just be like, okay, well, I have two good running backs. I'm just going to run every down, every play, every game. It doesn't work like that.
All right. So Norman thinks that our criticism of the wide receiver group is a little much. I think
that's 2 weeks in a row that Norman has disagreed with me. Norman, you can just take your opinions back home, buddy. How about that?
No, we love Norman. We love Norman. But listen, Norman, I would. We've talked about this before. I would love to share your optimism, but
I would.
But to me, there's the two weakest position groups on the Browns is wide receiver and defensive tackle. We're gonna pick on those positions. You can't give me any data to support Amari Cooper being a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL, even a top 20 or a top 25. I think you'd be lucky to make an argument that he's top 30. DPJ.
He's top 25.
You think he's top 25? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's up there. I don't think he's
There's a lot of
by
teams.
any means.
There's a lot of teams in the
it's
NFL
going to be
don't have
difficult.
a true number one.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult this year, especially though, because their true number one running or quarterback is not going to be playing for 11 games. So
who's guarding him?
I have no idea.
All right, but I have a guest in the dog pen. I'm going to bring in here Ethan Greenberg. How you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing pretty good, fellas. How you guys doing, other than the technical difficulties?
We are having technical difficulties. So over the past few weeks, we have remedied some of our connection issues with my internet connection. Now we're dealing with some streaming platform issues, I think, so bear with us here. But thank you for joining the show, Ethan. We certainly appreciate it. Have you been watching up to this point?
Yes, I have been watching. Very entertaining. I like the weightlifting segment that you guys were doing. That was good.
That's Hookers and Blowberry. He is our sidekick, if you will.
He's kind of like the show mascot. Don't worry about
I wasn't even going to get on tonight. I was just going to watch, and then Greg started having technical difficulties. I seen Ryan over there sweating. He had beads rolling down his head, and I thought, I can't leave him hang out. I can't leave him hang out to dry. So here I am.
Thanks.
All right, so Ethan, give me your thoughts on what we've talked about so far. So, roster cuts, the wide receiver room, and how you feel about what we have on the roster and what we should be after.
All right. First of all, I don't think that there were any huge surprises in the roster cuts. There were some fan favorites that didn't make the team. The Stanton guy, Stanton was good, but he's not gonna. I don't think he's really a top level 53 guy roster. the biggest thing, I think, which you guys have hit on over and over again here, which everyone is, this is not just you, is the fact that what are our weaknesses, and how is Stefanski going to handle all this? You got a lack of wide receiver depth, and you've got a full house in the backfield. How are you going to spread that all around? Has anyone even talked about the fact we don't have a legitimate kick returner anymore? So how are we going to be able to flip the field in those instances? That that's going to be a tough call there. The defensive interior line, that's also not looking so great through the preseason. And I know it's just preseason, but looking at guys like that, you need to step up. You got to have Jordan Elliott step up. You need to have Tommy Togiai step up. But I don't know. It's hard to say because in that third preseason game, they looked lost out there. Joe Wood's defense looked terrible. And that may have just simply been because they did not have a full set of their top players. It was not good. So I don't know. I'm trying to be positive about this season, but I'm also trying to be realistic about what we might be looking at here. And I've seen some crazy things happen in here. I mean, what was that? Pettin coming out 7-4 with Hoyer, the Destroyer, under center.
The only quarterback the Browns have had since '99 with a winning record.
Yeah, you are correct, sir. And he had a bunch of midget receivers, as my friends would always say. Between Hawk, I don't even remember who else did we have besides Hawkins. Do you guys remember off the top of your head?
With Hoyer, we had Hawkins. We had that was before Corey Coleman. Who did we have back then?
God, that wasn't Robisky and Massaquoi, was it?
Greg Little?
Oh God, please let's not bring up Greg Little because I started watching Anthony Schwartz and I compared Schwartz to Greg Little, guys who just had a phobia of catching the ball. Taylor Gabriel. Good point there, James. I forgot about that guy. He was great. I mean, he was very good. But the point being is that even a coach like Mike Pettin was able to take advantage of the skill set we had and the players we had and made it work. And I think that Stefanski is a pretty good coach. I don't know what happened last year, to be honest, because was it him being stubborn that Mayfield continued to play? Was it Mayfield being stubborn that he continued to play? I'm not sure which it is. Maybe it was a pissing contest, but either way, it screwed us.
Norman here is saying that we may not have a dedicated kick returner, but we have a body on the roster that can fill the role. I'm not going to completely argue this, Norman. I think the special teams is going to be extra important this year. God, Ryan, we talked about this last week. I'm so jealous of Norman's optimism. I wish that I could just harness Norman's energy and be as optimistic as he is. I just can't do it.
There's a reason why they went out and brought in Jakeem Grant on the offseason, right? They had the warm body playing kick returner for them last year, and it didn't do anything. Like, I understand the optimism, Norman, but at the same time, this isn't Little League football. Like, you can't just toss somebody into a spot and be okay with it because they're a decent athlete. You have to have somebody who's going to perform at a high level, and they didn't have that last year. That's why they went out and got the best kick returner, in the NFL, essentially, in Jakeem Grant. So to say, we'll be okay, we'll throw somebody in there, they've been down that road, and that's I don't like that mindset, but I know you're an optimist and I love you for it. But I want better out of my team than just saying we've got a warm body on the roster we can put in there. No big deal. We don't need a kick returner. You do, though. In today's NFL, you have to be able to flip the field. You have to be able to play the field position game. And, when you don't have somebody that can do that, that really, prohibits what you can do throughout a game.
You see, I disagree.
Okay, disagree with me.
The NFL has done everything they could to take the kick return out of the equation. I don't think it's that important anymore. The days of Josh Cribbs and the Devin Hesters and that's
what about
that's
punt?
gone.
But what about punt though?
if our defense is going to be so good and we're supposed to lean on our defense to keep us in games when we have to play conservatively on offense because we don't have DW.
The average punt return in the NFL is like 6 yards.
Fair. Okay, so let me ask you this. Ryan, Barry, Ethan, any of you guys can raise your hand and chime in here.
I'm with Norman on this one.
All right. We love Norman.
I'm team Norman, baby.
Disagree, but
I'm
we
team
love
Norman.
Norman.
I'm going to go ahead and mute Barry for the rest of the show now.
I disagree with him a lot last week. I got to give him some love this week.
So Jerome Ford, we saw Jerome Ford on return duty. What do you guys think of Ford on special teams? Do you think he can fill that role? Do we even need to lean on a wide receiver for that? Ethan, Ryan, you got anything to say? Yeah, Ethan.
I would add that I think that's going to be a great position for Jerome Ford to be in. We need him to be part of this active roster. He's going to have to fill an additional role because there's not going to be carries for all of those running backs. If you're trying to keep Chubb, Hunt, and Dearness Johnson busy, then, for someone like Ford is going to have to take carries away from Johnson. And a good way for him to get on the field is to be doing it on special teams. And that might be his niche right there. Who knows? I think that you look at a guy like Josh Cribbs. He kind of came out of nowhere. He's a college quarterback at Kent State. And then he comes on and is one of the best special teamers in the history of the NFL. And so who knows what Ford is going to do.
All right. So
I didn't realize I was going to do that.
Wow, Ryan's playing with buttons. All right. Here's the thing, guys. I'm going to go ahead and post the link into the comments. If this is your first time watching the show, we post the link in the comments. In most shows, about halfway through, anybody can join and talk to us face to face. Think of it as Twitter Spaces, but video chat. We've been doing this for years. This isn't a new thing. This isn't just for me and Ryan to go on and on about what we think. We want to hear from you. I have a feeling Norman's going to be joining us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Ethan, Ryan, Barry, Norman says, stop the Andrew Schwartz slander.
Well, who's Andrew Schwartz? I'll talk about Anthony Schwartz.
Anthony Schwartz.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Andrew Schwartz.
Andrew Schwartz.
I think I went to his bar mitzvah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Anthony Schwartz has had a very rough preseason. Okay. I see Red Leg in the comments or in the dog pen. I see Justin in the dog pen. I have a feeling that I'm going to see Norman here in a moment. We are going to get you all of you guys in. Don't worry.
I'm going to back out, Craig.
Go back to the gym, Barry.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm just, you guys are rolling now. You don't need my expertise. I'm glad I could step in and save the day.
Thanks, buddy.
I'll talk to you
You're
later.
my hero.
Thanks, Barry. Easy on the hookers and blow.
There he is.
Right. So, Norman, I see you down there as well. Don't worry. We're going to get you in.
Norman gets a 5-minute penalty for disagreeing with me.
5-minute penalty. There we go. All right. So Anthony Schwartz, what was it? 8 targets, 7 touched his hands, 1 got caught in this past game. Preseason jitters. Is this something to worry about? I mean, is the slander warranted? Ryan, you go first, and then Ethan, we'll get to you.
Yes, it's 100% warranted. I do not think he's a bona fide NFL receiver. He's a project receiver and should not be counted on for any significant stretches throughout the season. And if you're a Browns fan and you feel like he's going to be a 500 yards, 6-7 touchdown kind of guy this year, it's not going to happen.
All right, Ethan, let's get your 2 cents, and then we'll.
All right, I'm going to agree with you, Ryan. I would not count on him at all. Maybe I'd even would have thought about sending him back down to the practice squad if that were an option. The only thing I could see him possibly doing is standing back at the goal line and waiting for the kickoff. Maybe with his speed, he can come up with some returns, but I would not count on that guy to lead us down the field in the clutch.
Yes, you can, Barry.
I'm going to bring you guys in from the dog pen here. Justin, Norman, Redleg, welcome to the show. I'm going to start with Justin. This is the hot topic. Live from the Baltimore Ravens headquarters studio.
Jesus,
Justin.
You know what? I've got the dog pound behind me though.
You do.
You do. Put up a dang flag or something,
Your Anthony
Justin.
Schwartz take.
I don't really think too much about Schwartz. My big thing is, how the hell do you know who Gargamel is from the Smurfs?
I had no idea. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Gargamel from the Smurfs, man.
I should have known because I have 2 small children, but
Exactly.
I didn't.
Because he created Smurfette.
It was a failure on my part. I apologize to you.
But no, I don't really think too much about Schwartz. With all those running backs, though, we could kick one of them out to the tight end. And like I said earlier, we could go back to the 2-back set, have a regular running back and a fullback. Johnson could be a great fullback.
Yeah, I mean, Barry said you don't have to be able to catch the ball to make the NFL. You can. When guys have world-class speed like that, borderline Olympic speed, NFL teams are going to take flyers on you. And that's essentially what the Browns did. They took a flyer on him, hoping that, if we could teach this guy how to catch and run routes appropriately, he's going to be amazing. He could be the next Tyreek Hill type, talent, but it's not going to happen. Sometimes you fail on projects and they failed.
No.
All right,
No.
Norman, hang tight for a second. I'm going to give you the last word on this. You get the benefit of the last word, but first I'm going to go to Browns superfan Redleg, absent the helmet. You have a kick-ass hat, but give us your Schwartz take.
Well, in reference to my rookie cards, he is the best thing since Michael Irving. He is the second coming. He'll be there. If you need cards,
can I jump in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have the Luminance autographed Anthony Schwartz rookie cards out of 3, 5, 10, 25, and 50. I am rooting for this guy more than anybody for my wallet. Not happy.
No, I mean, I kind of think along the line there. I think you're right. I think he's kind of a project receiver. I think they like his speed. If they can teach him, it's good. If not, they're going to cut him. They tried this year with the basketball player. They tried to turn into a tight end. It just clearly did not work out. So we're starting to see kind of a history of that, I guess, now, or a pattern. It takes 3 for a pattern, so that's just 2. But, I want him to succeed, but, who knows?
Put Barry's comment up. Hold on. Put Barry's comment up about he had a great career. Barry, this man played 3 seasons in the SEC as a starting receiver and had 6 total touchdowns.
Oh,
he was
Is that
underutilized.
a great college career?
He was underutilized.
All right.
He was
He had,
underutilized.
as a junior, he had 636 yards and 3 touchdowns.
All
He
right.
was
This is where
underutilized.
we give Norman the
come
last
on.
word. Norman is the outlier in this room of myself, Justin, Ethan, Redleg, and Ryan. Norman,
Go ahead, Norman.
why are we
All
wrong?
right. 1. I'm gonna work my way backwards. When you were talking about him only having 600 yards, 6 touchdowns, DPJ, who was drafted, I guess, later than where Schwartz was also underutilized. And I believe we're seeing how he has developed. The thing about Schwartz, where I agree with you on one point, where you said about him being a project. Yes. However, that project, they're willing to wait on to bear fruit. They've done it with Elliott, and he was drafted. I think he was drafted in the 3rd round. And everybody was like talking, "Oh man, kick this guy to the curb. He's not producing. Kick him to the curb." And now all of a sudden, it looks like the light came on for him. I saw in the interview for him, sidetracking a little bit, he said he finally decided to take his career seriously. Looks like it. Now, as far as Schwartz goes, and I'm not comparing him to Jamar Chase as far as ability, anything. But Jamar Chase came in, had a horrible preseason, and then went out and lit up the league. Now, as far as Schwartz goes, he's had a rough go from his first year, where he basically missed the offseason and pretty much all the training camp. So that's why he was not really used that much. And then I guess him having that one unfortunate series with Baker throwing to him and him not going out for the ball, and everybody wanted to either blame him or Baker. But after that, he hardly got targets except when someone else was at quarterback.
Norman, can I jump in here real quick?
Go for it. Go for it.
Respectfully, I have to ask you this question after hearing that. Is the Chase argument fair when looking at Schwartz versus Chase? Because to me, Chase is a separate tier.
Yes.
I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that. But even though he's a separate tier, people were chewing him up because he was only thing that seemed like he said he couldn't even catch a cold in that preseason. And I kept saying he's gonna be fine, unfortunately for us in the division and everybody else in the NFL. I said, just give him a little time. As soon as he gets out there, when the bullets count, he catches one, it's gonna all be, in the past. And started off a little rough, started picking it up, then he was off like fire, except for against the Browns.
Can I say something real quick?
Go for it.
Norman, I understand, and I know you're not comparing the two. I understand that. But the difference between Jamar Chase not showing out in the preseason versus Schwartz on year 2 is that Jamar Chase, as a sophomore in college, had 1,700 receiving yards and over 20 touchdowns. So you knew that guy could catch the ball and perform at the highest level. He also won a national championship in college. Anthony Schwartz doesn't have that pedigree. Anthony Schwartz wasn't a proven college player either. He was drafted as a project. Those are two different, you know what I mean? Like
Anthony Schwartz, in my opinion, was underutilized, just like DPJ at Michigan. He was underutilized. Now, that might have been because the coach saw he was having a rough time catching consistently and just automatically said, okay, I'm just going to use you for this and I'm not going to worry about you. Right. They tend to do that in college because if they find somebody else on the much larger, they can carry many more players. So if they find somebody else that's doing something consistently, they're going to put more energy into them. And then if they relegate you to gadget plays, or if it's special teams or whatever else, whatever fits that they say, okay, this is where you can contribute best. I want you to focus on this. And then that's it. He is being given an opportunity because of his physical traits to develop. And I believe, just like they were patient with Elliott, they're going to be patient with him. He is not on the roster right now to be the next Tyreek Hill right now. That was all hype from fans, okay? He's been brought on here because he has that ability to possibly approach someone like Tyreek Hill if he can become a more consistent route runner and catcher. And those physical traits that he have, you can't coach those. You can't Bionic Man install them, anything like that. So they're going to give this guy some time. What I'm saying is everybody needs to understand that and stop looking at him like he was drafted in the first round and expected to be the next big thing. He's not. And they kind of alluded to that when they drafted him. They say he's got potential. He's got physical ability. Let's see what we can do to develop him.
I understand
and if these guys are about their job, that's what they'll do. And I feel like when the bullets fly and he gets into the flow, he's going to surprise a lot of people. But he has to have that opportunity and that time to develop. One other thing. Some of these cuts that they've made at wide receiver, I was surprised they let Williams go. He might be back on the practice squad. But there are some other players out there that have been released that they probably got their eye on, and you're probably going to see them on the roster in the next day or so. But I still say stop bashing Schwartz because he wasn't brought in to be wide receiver 1, and he's just meant to grow and develop. And just like everybody was giving Elliott grief for underwhelming performances, it looks like he might have found that on switch. The light might have come on for him right at the right time, because everybody kept saying if he don't look like he's going to produce this year, he's gone. So he might actually develop into that role as a starting D tackle for this team. Give Schwartz some time, patience, breathe. Husa, you guys are so busy going through this. We getting beat up from everywhere, from top to bottom, all around the league. It's pressing on y'all. Got to be patient. Patient.
All right, I'm gonna cycle through some guys here, and we can keep talking about this. There is a couple announcements that I want to make. Number one, you'll see here, Yard of War commented Schwartz at best, even if didn't drop passes, is a wide receiver 4. The Browns should be on Preston Williams, Seth Williams, and maybe even Josh Gordon. I want to point out something. Yard of War is one of the, I believe, the first professional fantasy football league out there. Very interesting concept. So interesting, in fact, that an asset of the Dawgs Table LLC that runs our show and our publication actually has the Cleveland franchise, the Cleveland Canines. There is a Patreon that you can support us with and help us choose our roster setups and picks and things of that nature. So very interesting league. So Yard of War, thank you for chiming in and tuning in. If you want to support the Dawgs Table and professional fantasy football franchise, I am managing the Cleveland Canines. So there's that. Also, I would love to give a shout out before we continue to Redleg. Redleg has actually committed to officially joining the Dawgs Table team for dawgstable.com. He is going to be a contributor, writing wise. And, hopefully we get Ethan in on the mix. We've been talking to Ethan about joining the team as a contributor. So hopefully that comes along and goes well, and we'll continue to talk about that. Brad Edo is in the house. My dog can catch a football better than Schwartz, and he doesn't have thumbs. Brad's got a wonderful dog. I've not met Brad's dog personally. I've seen a number of photos, and I know some of the dog's siblings. Wonderful dog. Brad, thanks for joining the show and hosting us at the Brick House for our NFL Draft Live special. Chris, I understand Norman, but then why didn't the Browns play him better if he's a project and not the number 3 wide receiver on our team? Okay,
he's
listen.
not. Bell is.
Okay. Bell is the wide receiver 3. All right. So in my mind, it's Cooper, DPJ, Bell, Schwartz, and after that, it really doesn't matter. In my opinion, I have high hopes for Mike Woods. My optimism is focused on Mike Woods. I don't know. It's really nerve-wracking having 5 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. It does not compute for me. So that leads us to our next subject. We have 5 running backs, and we have a surplus at running back. We have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson, Jerome Ford, and Demetric Felton. Felton has abilities, average-ish special teams abilities and average-ish wide receiver 6-7 type wide receiver abilities.
Whoa.
Yep. Okay, Norman, hang on.
He's a gadget receiver. He's a hybrid running back.
He's receiver. A gadget guy. He's a jack of all trades, not even close to a master of all, in my opinion. All right, so I'm going to go around the table here. I'm going to start with Ethan, then I'm going to go to Ryan, then Justin, then Redleg, and then we'll get to Norman. We'll give you the last word once again. All right. To me, Johnson's the last man out. We are going to see a Johnson move. There's no way in my mind that we get rid of Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb's obviously safe. Jerome Ford is a draft pick. We're not going to get rid of him. He might be our future running back 1, running back 2. Felton is untradeable, but also unlikely to be able to make it to our practice squad, so I don't see him getting cut. That leaves to me Dearness Johnson to trade for a fringe wide receiver, a fringe tight end. Maybe we package a draft pick with him. But obviously we can't get a haul from him, especially with running back being a devalued position. Give me your thoughts on these numbers and what the Browns should do or what you might think they should do. Let's go, Ethan.
All right, Craig. Well, I got to say your assessment there, talking about what they might do in the backfield, the running back room, the Dearness Johnson piece, I think you're right on target there because he is most likely the most expendable one in the running back room. We talked a little bit earlier about the tight end situation, the fact that we've only got 2 on the roster, but that's not likely to stand. They are likely to pick somebody up to fill in at the other tight end position. And I really think they've got to make some kind of a move, as you said, using a running back like a Dearness Johnson as leverage. Other teams are hurting for running backs. There's going to be a lot of injuries, and Dearness Johnson has proved time and again he can come out there and be very, very productive. It's just he happens to be on a roster that's loaded right now. So I think that's I completely agree with your assessment. Make a trade using Dearness Johnson as the bait. Maybe you package it up, try and get somebody, on the fringe wide receiver position. Maybe we're looking tight end. I don't know. It's a tough market out there right now. So that's my thought on the matter.
All right. So I forget what order I was going to go in because these Labatt Blues are going down way too smooth. They should be going down smooth for you guys too, but we are going to red leg here.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Johnson is definitely capable of starting anywhere. He could start in the league. He seems like the most likely target. If they're going to go get rid of Hunt, that'd be some kind of massive trade, but I just don't see it happening. I think you see Felton, kind of same issue, like you said, but he's a gadget, right? We're talking about this gadget idea. So he's receiver, running back, and last year he was returning punts or return man as well. So he's got versatility and usability, and if they're running short in positions, that's what I think is going to happen with him. Our running back room is just so stacked. I mean, we got Ford as a rookie, and going back to Schwartz as well. Real quick, if you look at Schwartz, he's still on a rookie contract. He's still cheap. He may be worth the time to develop as well, because if he's not producing much, he's not costing that much. So, but let's kind of look at the running back room. I mean, someone's got to go, or someone's maybe, I guess, even.
Justin, what say you, sir?
So to build off on the Schwartz thing, to backpedal a little bit, I believe it was you, Ryan, that's talked about his college career and his stats. Look at his quarterbacks where he had Jared Stidham and Bo Nix. Like, who the hell are they? Where
Bo
are they
Nix was
now?
a decent quarterback.
What did he do? Did he win anything? Decent. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Nothing really wild to throw him the ball. But as far as the current topic with the run backs, I really see Hunt being dealt somewhere out west, maybe like Denver or something like that, maybe San Francisco even.
So are you a Schwartz fan? Is that what I'm getting from your comments?
Not necessarily. I don't hate him, but I'm not opposed to him. I'll say that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I really think Hunt would be more likely to be dealt than Johnson, just because he had a few good games last year. For me personally, that's not enough to go off of as far as trying to pick him up from another team's perspective and taking a chance on him.
All right, real quick. I'm not sure what I missed. I was gone for like 2 minutes here again. Barry has something to say. Are you there, Barry?
I'm here.
All right, Barry's audio only, so go ahead. He said, "Tag me in."
So, I'm with the gentleman who just spoke. I'm driving, so I couldn't see his name, but I think it's Hunt that's got to be traded. For one, they're not going to sign Hunt to a long-term deal. He's gone after this year anyways. So if you keep Hunt and he walks, you trade Johnson, then next year all you have is Nick Chubb and Ford. So the jury's still out on Ford, and we've seen what he can do in the preseason, but you don't know. You know what Johnson can do. I think you trade Hunt. I mean, if you have to get rid of somebody, I think you trade Hunt, or you release somebody like Felton. I don't know. Like, I'd rather release Felton than trade Hunt, to be honest with you. But that's just me.
Well, here's my take on that. And the problem is Hunt is so good, but the position is so not valuable from a trade standpoint. Like, what kind of compensation are you going to get for Hunt? Do you really want to take a future 4th or 5th at best for a running back that could change games? I don't know. I don't think so. Not in my opinion. I mean, realistically, that's what Hunt would bring in a trade.
But here's another thing to think about. If he just leaves in free agency, don't we get a
Are you still there, Barry?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think. Okay, so there's Barry. Barry, all right. Say that again.
I said if he leaves in free agency, don't we get a compensatory pick?
Depends. It's not guaranteed. All right. So who do we got next, Ryan? I was gone.
Me.
Who's up next?
Me.
All right.
The Cleveland Browns are not going to trade Kareem Hunt. It's not happening. They're not going to give away their third best weapon on the offense for a 4th-round pick in a year that they need all the help that they can get, especially with Watson being out for 11 games. It doesn't make any sense. They're going to rely so heavily on the run game until he comes back. Let's be completely honest. Dearness Johnson is a great running back, but he's not Kareem Hunt. He doesn't possess the same talent, skill set that Kareem Hunt does. He doesn't catch the ball in the way that Kareem Hunt does. It can be argued that he doesn't run the ball the way that Kareem Hunt does. Kareem Hunt is a different kind of running back than Dearness Johnson. I think Dearness Johnson is the odd man out. I would have said prior to Jakeem Grant's injury that Felton could have been the odd man out. But now that Jakeem Grant went down with an injury, they're going to need Felton in the return game, and that's where they're going to use him. I would say other than a few gadget plays here and there, you're probably going to see Felton more in the return game this year than you will as a receiver on the field. It just doesn't make sense for the Browns to get rid of Hunt this year. They would have to be blown away with an offer to the point that they're going to get a bona fide starting wide receiver or playmaker in return for him. But that's not going to happen. It's just like Craig said, the market for running backs right now is just so low that people, I just can't envision somebody giving us someone like that unless there's a major injury somewhere and somebody is absolutely desperate for a running back. But the Browns absolutely love the two-headed monster with Hunt and Chubb. And contrary to the 2-day sit-in that he did earlier this year, I still think Kareem Hunt loves being in Cleveland. I think he loves being a member of the Browns. I think he loves the organization. I think he has a great deal of respect for the organization for them taking a flyer on him. I think he would be I just don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me. Dearness Johnson is the odd man out for me. I think they could get rid of him and be just as fine moving forward. But I don't think there's going to be 2 tight ends on the roster going forward. Obviously, they're going to bring somebody in, whether it's a trade or some type of free agent signing. And I would be absolutely shocked if they don't bring another wide receiver in. I know that Stefanski went out and said, "Oh, I'm confident in the guys that he has in the room," but that's coach speak, guys. That's what he's going to say. He's not going to say anything other than that. He's not going to say, yeah, I got one great receiver and a bag of peanuts in the other side of the room, but we're good. He's not going to come out and say something like that, let's be honest. So I would be absolutely shocked if they don't get another receiver, whether it's a starting caliber guy or just a depth guy, that'll be, to be seen. But I anticipate several moves before we get into week 1 for sure.
I mean, do you guys,
all right, who do we got next up, Ryan?
Can I step in for a second?
Should be Norman. Oh, Red Lake has something first.
Just for a second. With Hunt, I think part of the problem I have with him trading him is his injuries from last year, a little bit affecting it. I think the Browns are also going to start running into cap space issues with that massive contract. I think that's something behind the scenes they're not going to talk about much, but they're going to be making moves to save money. I mean, not football strictly, but look at like the stuff they do in the stadium, what they're thinking about doing with new seating, and more expensive stuff. And the Browns are trying to make money. They're doing a massive PR campaign because they need that cash flow. And so some of these guys they don't want to get rid of, they're going to have to. They're just going to, it sucks, but money makes the world go around. They're heavily invested in Watson. So that's
I mean, there may be guys that hit that chopping block, but let's not be mistaken. If they want to keep them, they'll make the money work. They'll move enough money around to keep somebody. But they could get rid of him next year. I don't see that as. I'm not saying that that's not possible. I just don't see it happening this year. I think they need him too much.
All right, Norman, give me 30 to 60 seconds on your thoughts on this, and then I have a question for everyone.
Okay. First, I pretty much agree with everything Ryan said.
I love you, Norman.
All right. Now, I do believe they're going to do something to tight end as far as 1 or 2 people. I don't know how they're going to work the numbers out. I really didn't expect them to not keep 5 running backs because you can't trade a running back for a wide receiver, not one that you really would want or that the other team would be willing to give up because nobody's desperate yet. That may happen as we get into the season. We get into the season, somebody gets hurt at that position, team gets desperate. Then you look at it, I'm like, oh, see, you ignored me a couple months ago. Now all of a sudden you're on my phone. So what are you giving me besides the player? Then they're going to start playing that game. So just like with San Francisco, everybody called their bluff. They're like, okay, we're going to hold on to Jimmy G for a while. Y'all going to need him later on, and then we're going to ask for more when we get into the season. So that's their plan. And I think the Browns are willing to sit tight because we got people, we got a running back who can play, who can do the running back. He can also catch out of the backfield, and he can line up at wide receiver. So there's help right there. All the other guys, every reason that Ryan gave for keeping them, that's pretty valid. Okay, you got Chubb, he ain't going nowhere. Hunt is your 1B, so he's going to be here this year, and the Browns might be looking at him to say, show us why we should give you that little extension like we paid you last year or a little bit more. So he's got that going with him. Dearness Johnson, he may be the most vulnerable, but I think they want to keep him because he's shown that when 1A and 1B go down, he can step in and kind of fill that void. And then having him and Ford on the roster makes it even better to overcome injuries. So I think they'll be there. Go for it.
All right. Thank you, Norman. All right. So here's the next subject. And actually, Chris is making me deviate here. Looking at Redleg's hat, what do you guys think the new field design will be? I think it's going to be the old school elf. There was 2 elves. One of them was more old school. Redleg, you're over there praying for that to happen. I think that's what it's going to be personally. Now they tweeted like a pixelated version of the field today, but you can only take so much away from that. I don't know. It could be some misdirection. Who knows? But listen, they've been pushing the elf, and this is the time. It's going to happen. Yep. They're going to go full vintage on this. I think that's the vote that would have won. All right. So let's move past that. I know everybody's probably got opinions on that, but here's the last big subject that we're going to take to, and it's a hole that, again, I was hoping we wouldn't go down moving forward after last week, but Baker Mayfield's back. He's back again. All right. So last night, audio of a podcast started circulating, and it was from the Around the NFL radio show or podcast. And essentially, Cynthia Freeland, who is, as far as I know, a Bills reporter or sideline reporter for the NFL, provided a secondhand account of a conversation with Baker Mayfield. And he said, I'm going to fuck them up. Now, this is a conversation that was between Baker and a reporter, and I'm not sure that we should all be privy to this conversation. That's besides the point. It's out now. She painted a picture today that she was saying, like, this isn't about the league. This isn't about the Browns. It's about the whole league. I said, hey, kick some ass this year. Go fuck them up. And he said, oh, I'm going to fuck them up. That was the story she gave. It was going around pretty heavily on Browns Twitter that he was directing this towards the Browns. We'll never know. Anyways, we have bulletin board material, and it's something that Myles Garrett was approached with today, and it required a response to him from him, and he said he's aware. He's aware. The defense is aware. The Browns are aware that this was said. Is bulletin board material real, and would anybody expect anything less from Baker Mayfield? And is this even a story? Ryan, give me your.
It's Baker Mayfield. I mean, this is who he is. I mean, he's the chip on the shoulder guy. He's gonna act most likely like he was passed over, just like he was in both of his college, places. And, Texas Tech, he was a walk-on there, got passed over, and then decided to go to Oklahoma as a walk-on, and won his job there. Was a great college quarterback, comes here, he's the underdog story. And then the Browns ship him off. So, I mean, it's just right in his alleyway. I mean, it's just throwing a softball up for him to knock out of the park by saying something like that. So it doesn't shock me that, it sounds like from all the drama around the situation that it was a more off the record type conversation that probably wasn't supposed to be reported that got reported, is what it kind of sounds like happened. But it wouldn't shock me if he did say something like that. And, I personally think that Carolina game's going to be a tough one for the Browns. So, I will not be surprised if he comes out and balls out and he's extremely motivated and extremely amped up and animated in the game. And, we'll see. But it's a non-story. It's just who he is. And I wouldn't expect anything less from him.
Does anybody else have thoughts? Raise your hand if you have thoughts. All right, Red Leg, we'll go to you first.
So the first thing I saw this morning is kind of freaked out, but I'm like, well, it's kind of crazy. I posted on Twitter, I'm like, he's a separate team now. He's doing his own thing. He's a quarterback. It's his job. Essentially, like Ryan said, it's really a non-story. And then later in the day, I saw that she'd actually put a statement out or an interview with like some Cleveland associated something. I don't know what the name of the group is. I've never heard of him before, but she said he actually didn't say that, but she had said it, and he more or less agreed. So that's even more obfuscation or fog.
Co-signed.
Yeah.
Co-signed.
And it's just like, okay. But that is part and parcel Baker. That's who he is. He's going to play his ass off that first game. And that's just who he is. Like, he wants to win that game real bad. And I don't think it's against the fans. I don't think it's against his former teammates. I think Baker Mayfield wants to win against ownership. The period. That's directed towards.
All right. I want to get Ethan's thoughts, and then what we're going to do is if anybody joining the show wants to bring something to the table, bring up a subject, a comment, a question, anything like that, I'm going to have you guys raise your hands. Justin, we'll get to you. I see you over there. Ethan, any thoughts on this discussion?
Well, first of all, when I got into work at 7:30 this morning and I start seeing the tweets and I'm listening to 92.3 and I'm like, what's going on here? And I check out this thing. The first thought is, as a reporter, that is poor form right there. That is poor form to be bringing your bias and your fandom into it. It's also poor form to go and then report on what this guy said. It was a conversation between he and you. He wasn't behind the podium. It's kind of messed up from a reporter standpoint. And then for her to backpedal and not just accept responsibility for it is just part of the big trend everywhere these days where nobody's responsible for their own words and actions. It's ridiculous. Now, is it all Baker Mayfield and what we should expect from him? Absolutely. That's the way this guy is. He is insufferable from being an opponent of his. It was bad enough when he opened his mouth as one of our own, but now having to listen to him on the opposite sideline, we've got to beat this guy. Somehow we got to beat this guy. Myles Garrett, the defense, they've got to do something. They know his tendencies. In as much as they might say, well, the Browns' tendencies, Joe Woods is going to rework this defense, and good coverage is good coverage. So, I mean, this is just pure Baker Mayfield being Baker Mayfield. Honestly, for all the people who love him, great, but he's on another team now. Let's move forward and let's in fact kick his ass and let's fuck him.
There you go. I am very much with you, Ethan. If there's one thing to be said about Baker, he is unapologetically himself. And I think that's something that I saw, maybe it was Jake Burns that was saying, I think it might've been Jake Burns. Listen, that's just all he's ever going to be. It doesn't matter if he's playing in the NFL or playing pickup basketball or playing chess in a nursing home. That's who he's going to be. And it's wonderful if he's on your team and you're like, yeah, he gets us and he embodies us and things like that. But when he's not on your team, he is very much Juju Smith-Schuster dancing on TikTok, right? Like, it's cringe. It's awful. It's terrible. So it's a battle of perspectives and placement, in my opinion. Justin, you were raising your hand. What do you got?
Excuse me, sorry. I saw it on the Pat McAfee show. That's where they were talking about the whole Baker comment. He's going to go F him up. And I see that as it's just this iteration of he woke up feeling dangerous. It's not anything specific to the team or anything. It's just that he's trying to pump himself up and saying, okay, I'm going to go out and ball out.
Right.
Red leg, what the hell are you showing?
Chase Claypool, same
Chase
boat.
Claypool. All right. There's some bulletin board material there. But no, like realistically, this is what you want. Like if your quarterback doesn't have this mindset, if your player on your team doesn't have this mindset, you have a problem. They have a problem, right? Like there is nobody on, like, think about it. If the Browns defense all this offseason and all through training camp and all through preseason, John Johnson's looking over at Grant Delpit and be like, I can't wait to play Baker. I'm going to fuck him up. Like, that's what you want, right? Until it's on the other team. And then, of course, it's an issue. Like, so for me, like, this is a story, but it's a non-story.
It's trash talk, man. It's football.
It's trash
what
talk.
It is.
It is what it is. All right, Norman, I'm going to get your thoughts on this. Our resident
Optimist.
DW apologist. Those are not strong words. Those are not strong words. And then we're gonna open it up for anybody to bring up their own subjects if they would like.
Okay. I'm gonna add some context to this whole situation.
Let's do it.
I've watched Cynthia Freeland for a while, and I was really glad to see her early this morning on another show. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the name out there just so I can back up what I'm saying. She had an appearance first time on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. So you got G. Bush, the Bull,
Adam the Bull.
Right. So she was on there.
Cleveland radio guys.
Right. And what she did was she had to give some context for what she did on that podcast. She was basically kind of in passing. She's a big Baker Mayfield fan. She knows him personally. And, she was just basically, hyped to say, yep, you look healthy. You had a good game out there. Go out there and, fuck up the league. She didn't use that. She didn't use the language, but we know what she meant, and basically he said, yeah, I'm gonna fuck him up. So it wasn't directed at the Browns. It was just more him. He was co-signing on what she was saying, and she was being general about it. But considering who his week one opponent is, considering his history, it's more easy for them to believe that actually did come out of his mouth, but it didn't. The thing about it is, it probably doesn't matter now because, people want to throw that up on the bulletin board. Everybody's going to add their feelings to it, and then it becomes real and goes on from there. So now, is it really more motivation? It might be. Maybe some people who are still fans of his on the team.
Gosh darn it, Norman's live. Leave him be.
Even the people on the team that are still friends with him are probably saying, yeah, we got to win this game. So it might be a little bit more motivation. But Cynthia genuinely tweeted that more like, hey, I'm cheering for him. I want him to go out there and tear up the league because she's a fan of his and she's a friend of his. Unfortunately, it was taken out of context to the point where she really regrets even putting it out there because she didn't mean to imply he was talking about, I'm going to fuck the Browns up. Okay. But everybody's going to believe what they want to believe. It's kind of like news and politics these days. Facts have nothing to do with a good story. But that's all I got to say on that one. But that woman is not a reporter. She's a statistician. She's a how you want to put it? She's like Barry and them. She's an analyst. Okay. That's her primary function. So she's not really like all the other people, like Aditi Kinkabala, for example, like Mary Kay. She's not a sideline reporter. She doesn't normally tweet out reports on what players and GMs and stuff are doing. She's talking about it from an analytics perspective. So she's not as adept as the others as far as what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So she made a mistake. But she
Ethan,
wasn't
I feel
trying
like you got
to
something to say
she
here.
wasn't trying to cover it up, or she didn't play
Yeah, I'm gonna
coward and
have
then, stand by her statement, anything like that. She said what she said, but that's not how she meant it. And then she had to say that he didn't actually say that toward the Browns. He was just kind of co-signing what she was saying, say, yep, I'm going to, everybody on my schedule. Because she was saying, hey, you got 17 games, take it to him. And he's basically saying, yep, that's what I'm going to do. So just
that's not
context.
what I heard at all. I
I'm
respectfully
not excited
disagree.
about it, but I mean, the players might be. So,
Yeah,
hey, more spice.
They played that clip over and over and over again, and that is not what she said. So whether that is what she said in the actual conversation or otherwise, she came out on the air and if she put words in Baker's mouth, and that's messed up that she did that. If she works for NFL media, she's got to put her fandom away. And her
That's not why she was out there. She wasn't out there to do a sideline report. They were in passing and they had that conversation and she was excited about it. So she put it out on her Twitter. She wasn't doing a report.
Yeah,
trying
but
to
she's
make
got to
that
know better
clear.
than that.
All right, so I'm gonna jump in here. I think Barry's microwaving something at the.
I muted him because it sounded like he was in a fist fight in the middle of his kitchen.
All right, so I kind of agree with both Ethan and Norman to some extent. She probably shouldn't have said something. First of all, that was a conversation privy to them together. That was something that was probably said in confidence. Now, to those that say that Baker shouldn't have said that,
Don't care.
it doesn't really matter.
No.
Who cares? I wouldn't expect anything less of them. Is it bulletin board material? Yes. Is that great as a Browns fan? Yes, please. Give me more bulletin board material. Is this something that is off the wall or inappropriate? Absolutely not. If that wasn't his mindset, he has no business being in the NFL. For the Browns, the Panthers, for anybody. That's the mindset that you want. But it was a secondhand report. It was a secondhand account of the verbatim conversation. So there are multiple ways that you can look at that. I think that in a way you guys are both right. Both you, Norman, and Ethan. I can agree with you both when it comes to certain sentiments. God, I hope he gives us more bulletin board material because listen, I'm a Baker Mayfield guy. I've been accused of being a Baker bro, and maybe I am. I don't know. I'm rooting for that guy as he progresses his career, whether it's with the Panthers or somebody else, but never against my Cleveland Browns. I don't have a problem with him. I feel like he got the shaft. I feel like there could have been reasonable, justification for keeping him around. There was certainly justification for shipping him off. The way they did it, I don't like it. Whatever. It is what it is. It's water under the bridge. With that being said,
what's
that?
Oh,
I said context. The whole thing about the way Baker was done has to be on whether or not you believe or disbelieve what Barry said to his management team or not said. Because bottom line, and he said it from the beginning when he was here, when he came into the organization, he's going to improve the roster from top to bottom. That includes the quarterback position. So I think it's very likely, or I believe him when they said he told his management, Baker's management, hey, look, we still want Baker on the team. However, we are going to try to upgrade the position. So we are going to go into the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. If we don't get him, hey, no problem. We got Baker. But if we get him, then we might have to make some changes. So now I don't know if his management team didn't tell him or he just didn't like the fact that they actually went and got the guy to replace him. which I can understand that sentiment. But was he done dirty? I don't think so. They've done that with other players. Other teams do the same thing. It's just the fact that he was the #1 overall pick. He did take a winless team, and him along with the other people on the team help, get them into the playoffs and get a playoff win. I'm a fan of Baker too. I was glad when we drafted him. However, there were other players I thought we probably would have been better at drafting, but I liked the pick when they got him. I wish we had got Deshaun Watson back in the day when they had a chance to get him. I was shocked that we didn't get him, but
that's what's kind of weird about like my stance was I was disgusted when we took him. Like he won over hearts and minds through Hard Knocks. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I didn't like him when we drafted him.
It's one thing. Like think about it. And Justin, I'll give you the floor in here in just a second. It's one of those things again. If he's on our side and he's saying these things, he gets us. He embodies us. He's got that moxie. He's got that ego. He's got that. That's the guy that you want. You put it on the opposite side of the field. We don't like it at all.
I was saying I didn't like Baker when we first drafted him because when he planned the Oklahoma flag in the middle of the court.
Let it go.
Dude, that guy,
man.
What kind of an idiot tries to
Steelers fans of college football?
But he won me over because of his play in Cleveland. And
what kind of a guy tries to plant a flag in a turf field? A turf field.
He was excited. Give him a break.
Hey, remember, we all hated it when he did it. I did too. I was pissed. I was throwing my middle finger up at the TV. I was like, you little short MF, whatever, everything. As soon as we drafted him, let's go Baker. That's when you let that go. We got Michigan players on the team. We got people planting flags on the middle of Ohio State's field in the horseshoe. Hey, whoever. As long as they playing in the brown and orange, they family.
I mean, to kind of book in that real quick. I mean, I saw Baker Mayfield in the stadium doing this. I saw the man do it.
Yeah, I believe
Ohio.
you. I believe you.
He gets it. The man gets it. So,
all right. So I'm going to switch gears here.
Can I say one more thing real quick?
Sure.
The last thing about this fan outrage about Baker. He said, I'm gonna fuck him up. Whatever. That's the implied thing here. It's like Browns fans are implying that Baker went, I'm gonna fuck him up, and they have really small wieners too. That's the kind of reaction we're getting. Baker Mayfield said a normal football trash talk kind of thing, and it's like just people losing their minds over it.
Yeah.
I just dude, it's football talk. Come on. So.
I haven't had a comment on this yet. Now I've been sitting over here waiting patiently.
Let's do it, Barry.
Not throw your dishes around.
Baker's just being Baker. This goes back to me, the whole point of the rumor saying we want a adult at quarterback. That's what it goes back to. The guy can't keep his mouth shut. He was, it wasn't a talent issue why he's not in Cleveland. I honestly don't believe that. I think there was just too much bullshit with him. He talks too much.
Interesting.
He talks too much, and he does the talent doesn't back up the talk. There's only a couple quarterbacks in this league that can talk like that. One of them's Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, fuck Aaron Rodgers.
The seed oil guy.
But still, what I mean? That's my point. Just Baker being Baker, and that's I would have hoped he would have learned his lesson before he punches his ticket out of the end. I'm really rooting for the guy. I really am. I really am, and I want him to succeed because he did a lot here in Cleveland, and I really appreciate that. He put us back in contention and really brought football back to Cleveland, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, he's like Donald Trump. He can't get out of his own way. You can do the greatest things in the world, but you can't shut your mouth. It's the truth. It's the truth.
I don't know if you can see the eye roll there, but
you can do. But the thing that's my point. The point is, Donald Trump literally could have. And this is the way Baker is. Okay, you could have.
I agree with you about 45, 100%.
You could have.
But this one time, like I was explaining to y'all, Baker didn't initiate that. But the thing is, because of his reputation, because of things he's done in the past, somebody gave that beautiful example of the flag planting in the horseshoe. Everybody is willing to believe he said it, but he actually didn't. She came out and explained it. She gave good context for it, because when I heard her on that podcast, I was like, no, he didn't. But like I said, because of his reputation, because of his persona, a lot of people are going to hold on to that and believe it, because they're looking for things to say, yeah, I want to see him, get the crap beat out of him. When I hear Bull talk about Baker all the time, it's like I'm thinking he's going to get found out for putting a hit out on the kid. But
and you're right.
He really didn't do it this time. But the thing about it is, like I said, as we get closer to week 1, it's not going to matter, because people are going to say, even if he didn't say it, he's probably thinking it. So I'm going to just believe that. And this is what I'm going to carry out on the field when we get there down in Carolina. So, hey, I just want to stick up for the fact, because I like to call it straight. He didn't do it this time, but it don't matter. His reputation is just going to drag this along right into that game. And he is that personality where, hey, he probably not going to say nothing out in the media against what Cynthia said. He's going to probably use it like, yeah, okay, well, if they want to believe that, fine. I will F them up, So let the games begin. I can't wait.
I'm with you, Norman. Let the games begin. I hope Myles Garrett gets the sack record. I'm not rooting for him to get injured.
4.5.
I'm rooting for him after that, but I hope Myles gets the sack record. I hope there's that extra motivation there. I'm gonna put Ethan on the spot here. Ethan is next man up if he would like to be a Dawgs Table contributor on dawgstable.com. I'm going to ask him to bring something to the table. What's something that we haven't discussed or talked about? What's a question you might have for us, a comment, a stance, a take? Give us something. Bring us something to the Dawgs Table.
Well, first of all, it's tough being a Browns fan and not being in Cleveland to be able to celebrate the wins and the terrible defeats as well. Richmond, Virginia kind of is a town, it's no good. But here's some ideas for you, some takes. First of all, I'm concerned. I'm thinking this team could be a 6-11 team, honestly. As much as I'd like them to make the playoffs, I see some problems ahead for them. You want to talk about some wide receivers. Why haven't we talked about Cole Beasley? He's a heck of a good player. I didn't like his vaccine stance, but he is, he's a good receiver. What's going on with what do we got with T.Y. Hilton? We want another head case in Antonio Brown. I don't know how they can be much worse than what we've got right now. And I just got to say, as a diehard Browns fan, all I want is to win. And whoever's under center, whoever's standing in the backfield, out for the passes, etc., just win. We finally have a kicker. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Justin, give us your take. Is it Cole Beasley the answer, or T.Y. Hilton, or was it Will Rhodes or Ryan with the Dawgs Table that threw out Julian Edelman out there? Can we coax him out of retirement? Is it one of these fringe roster guys that's getting cut or traded? What's the answer here, Justin?
I wouldn't mind seeing Edelman or T.Y. Hilton.
Interesting. Interesting.
Edelman's got that experience being with Brady, so he can bring something to the team. Like, okay, I've been there, I've done that. This is how we need to act. This is how we need to present ourselves. And then Hilton, his whole time in Indy.
With Edelman, he made the comment this week, like, the reason I retired was because I couldn't stand to watch myself on film. The more I watched film on myself, he said, the more I felt like the game was getting away from me, which alludes to physical limitations and how that relates to being productive.
There are more ways to be productive than on the field productivity. Like in the
Fair enough.
locker room, having that presence, having that grasp on everything that's going on and how to present yourself to the media, to the fan base.
All right. So James says, I don't think we are signing any veteran wide receivers. I believe Stefanski when he says he likes the wide receivers. James is also a newly appointed dawgstable.com contributor. Keep an eye out for his articles on dawgstable.com. All right. Ryan, Beasley, Hilton, Rager, Slayton, Whiteside. What's the move? Give me the move. The capital THE move.
I'm a Preston Williams guy.
Preston Williams. I like it.
I'm a Preston Williams kind of guy. I think he's got the right skill set to help a team in the right position. I mean, Rager's good. I wouldn't be opposed. I mean, honestly, I would be opposed to any of the names at this point. Cole Beasley, I mean, he's kind of he's essentially an older version of what they're going to hope David Bell's going to do. So I don't think you really need a Cole Beasley on the team. As much as he's a reliable guy, he's too old. And I think they already have the younger version of him on the team. But I kind of agree with James that I don't see them going any veterans like in the free agent market. I think if they were going to, they probably would have already at least had someone in for camp to see, if they think that they would help the team. I think it's most likely going to be either somebody who's cut or traded. But I think that we are in a world of hurt if the Browns go into the season with these 5 receivers.
All right. So 5 wide receivers is a slim number, right? Like there are opportunities to run 5 wide receiver sets. I get you that you have Hunt there. You have Felton there. I understand all that. 2 tight ends, 5 wide receivers isn't the ideal number to roll with. I feel like moves are going to be made. Guys that we wanted to make this team, that we've been rooting for, that we are happy they made the team. D'Anthony Bell. These aren't locks at this point. One of the guys that I was really rooting for, that I'm really nervous, despite the fact that I'm so happy he made the team, is Isaac Rochelle. And the reason I'm nervous is because of Mac Wilson. All right. Because one bad play, the entire Browns fan base is going to tweet at him and DM him and tell him to get the fuck off of social media and get to work. Because he is a social media influencer as well as a defensive lineman.
I think he's a different type of influencer, though.
I'm a little nervous. Which I never understood the hate that Emily Mayfield got, that Carly Teller gets, that the wives and girlfriends of these NFL players get for being on social media, for standing up for their husbands, for supporting them and supporting the team. I've never understood that. That is a unfortunate thing that social media wise, as fans, the bulk of us can't appreciate, I think. So it makes me a little bit nervous that he has a social media presence, that he's going to make the team. Hopefully he can look past that, and Brown fans will be forgiving with him if he has a bad play. But,
I actually think he's an underrated role player.
I do too. Absolutely. I was thrilled to see him on the team, not just because I admired him before he got here from a social media standpoint. I mean, the guy's entertaining. He has outstanding insights into what it's like to be an NFL player that we don't always get to see, especially from a role player, not a superstar. So when he got here and he performed well, I was super excited to see that. And I'm glad he made this team, and I hope he sticks with it. I'm just nervous for what him and his wife may endure if he has a bad play.
I mean, he I was unaware until my wife was like, "Oh yeah, he's the guy whose wife's social media. She's a model. She makes the money. He just kind of goofs around with her." I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
whatever." And then that's who he is. Fans have real trouble realizing that these are professional athlete human beings, and they're separate. They're together, but they're separate. There's on field stuff and there's off the field stuff, and you have to be able to realize that. They're human, just like you, just like me. We get our jobs. Imagine if you had, a $50,000 member fan base saying, "Oh, you dropped the cheese, man! You dropped the cheese. We needed that cheese." Or what I'm saying? Like, it's just we just can't draw that parallel. And,
No, I mean, it's like Tom Brady. Now, obviously, he's not Tom Brady, but like his wife's the breadwinner because of social media. Like. They came out with social media posts recently. There was a video of them talking like they don't spend his NFL money. They live off of her social media money. So it's an interesting dynamic. But it's one of those things where, I mean, that's smart, I guess, if they're banking his NFL money and they're not touching it, and she's the breadwinner. But hopefully we treat them respectfully.
I mean, he was in person. He was very nice as well. He was at camp. My wife was like, "I love what you and your wife do," and he's like, "Oh, well, thanks so much." And he was just very down to earth. What you see in his social media posts is how he is. He signed my kid's balls because they had him there for him, and just that's who he is as a human being. It's very genuine, and that is, hopefully the Browns fan base doesn't stamp it out of him, man, because that would be fucking terrible.
Ethan, do you have a take on this? I see you shaking your head.
Oh no, I was cracking up because he said balls.
Balls. Inside my kids' balls.
You're gonna sit in here, Ethan.
Yeah, I'm a big Beavis and Butthead guy, so right there.
All right. So with that, we're an hour and 45 in. We are an hour show, and we consistently roll over a half hour, 45 minutes. Not a problem at all. We love it.
I love the 9 o'clock time slot.
It's nice.
But Ethan, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
We hope that you'll be joining the team. Justin, thanks for joining the show from Baltimore Ravens headquarters.
See you, Justin.
Red Leg, thank you for joining the show. Norman, how's the health? Everything still good?
Everything's still good so far. I'll go back for another eval in October. I'm going to be closing. My wife and I will be closing on this house on the 1st. So that's some additional good news. And
you're selling the palace?
Yes.
Oh no. Where are you moving to?
Right where I'm at. We're buying the house that we're renting.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Well, keep us up to date, buddy. Hope everything's
stays I sure will.
We wish you the best. We're always thinking about you. Norman, thanks for joining the show. Glad that Norman is healthy and well. Ryan, any closing thoughts?
No, I think it was a great show today. I think we hit on some really good topics. I think Ethan Greenberg of the Dawgs Table sounds great. So I think you should really consider that. But I'm glad Red Leg's aboard. He's coming to the team now. And other than that, guys, we're getting really, really close to the opener. So we will see how it goes.
The season is here. It is so close. We can almost taste it. The dawgstable.com roster is stacked.
It is.
It's awesome. We're going to continue to add talent and contributors. We have a social media person we're going to be bringing aboard. We are looking for more social media individuals, and we're always looking for contributors for written content for the dawgstable.com. It's one of those things where you can never have too many contributors. We want to expand our team. We want to bring you all the content. We owe a great deal of thanks to Ryan for co-hosting the show with me. We owe a great deal of thanks to all the dawgstable.com contributors that provide us with written content. Andy Gibbs, Matt Wilson, Will Rhodes. We have Griffin Ola. We have all the Ryans. We have a bunch of guys. Outstanding. Wonderful. We've built a family over here that is a powerhouse. for content that I think is really going to start taking off. We're still young. We're growing. Be there to grow with us. And one of the best ways you can do that is to be with us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. for the Dawgs Table live show, hosted by Ryan and myself. We are brought to you by Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. We are part of Team Big Play. You can find us everywhere they are found. And we're so close to the season. I can't wait to talk real.
And go
football.
Buckeyes! Our Buckeyes have Notre Dame this weekend, so go Buckeyes.
Go Buckeyes if you're Ryan or a Buckeyes fan. Go Teams if you don't root for college football and you're only interested in it for the draft. But yeah, absolutely. Tuesdays at 9 p.m. And don't forget at all, if you are looking for an audio replay, if you can't catch the entire show, Ryan's uploading the podcast to Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasts. Just search the Dawgs Table, leave us a 5-star review, subscribe, follow. You can get the whole show in audio format if you miss the live show. You can catch the video replays on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're experimenting with going live on TikTok. It didn't go so well tonight, but we are going to sort through that. That is actually not an easy process. And not everybody's allowed to do it. We have the ability. We're sorting out the technical issues. So that's it. Thank you for joining the show. Go Browns. Thank you, Ryan.
Go Browns.
Great show tonight.
See you next week, buddy.
Next week.